I love looking through ancient texts and picking apart the thought processes of the greats. When guys like Heraclitus say things like, all things are in flux, the flux is subject to a unifying measure or a rational principle. This principle, logos, the hidden harmony behind change, bound opposites together in a unified tension, which is like that of a lyre, where a stable, harmonious sound emerges from the tension of the opposing forces that arise from the bow bound together by the string. It excites me. Polarity and vibration are amazing, but what is vibration? An instance of vibrating, an oscillation of the parts of a fluid, or an elastic state whose equilibrium has been disturbed, or of an electromagnetic wave? Is it a person's emotional state, the atmosphere of a place, or the association of an object as communicated to and felt by others? Both and all of the above, right? There's a working theory of physics I'd love to play out a bit that suggests that all matter is energy and vibration at its core. Quantum field theory states that the fundamental particles that make up matter should be treated as wave-like excitations of the quantum field. This would mean the electron would be viewed as something that excites the electron field. These quantum fields exist at every point in space-time. This research would seem to suggest that everything around us constantly vibrates on a subatomic level. However, it must be noted that this is all still theoretical, and any philosophy tied into these molecular vibrations is a pseudoscience. The reason the scientific community goes radio silent on the subject is because there simply isn't enough data for them to make an informed decision. We can all be hooked on the feeling of rightness and want the interconnectedness we feel to be proven scientifically, but it hasn't happened yet. Trust and believe, minds much more brilliant than my own are working at tackling the hard problem of consciousness as we speak. Everyone from psychologists to neuroscientists, quantum physicists, and even yogis are looking into finding the glue that holds matter together. In fact, Tam Hunt recently wrote an article for the Scientific American called The Hippies Were Right that clearly shows how seriously the scientific community is taking the concept of vibrations being that glue. At the end of the day, we all want answers. Clearly, as anyone who's seen my channel can attest, I have a hippie mentality.
Wow.
No, shocking. But maybe it's years of meditation and prayer, but it's taught me that there's a definite connection between vibration and matter, at least within my own body. The fact that I can hum om, hum, or yum and literally feel where it vibrates within my own body is scientific enough for me. Don't take my word for it. Sit comfortably and inhale deeply through your nose and exhale as you make one of those sounds. Try om, pronounced like the O in home. Hum it for a couple of minutes and note where the vibrations are within your own body. See if you can move the sensation around a bit by changing octaves. Where this gets incredibly interesting to me is that each of these sounds is associated with energy centers along the Kundalini. They are part of a meditative practice that goes back for thousands of years. Now, Om is considered to be the hum of creation, is said to be the core of everything, right? Google where the energy center with the sound Om is located. Is that what you noted the vibration? It's interesting, isn't it? Now, suffice it to say that several religions are in agreement that words, when spoken, have power. Speaking is a vibration of energy. We move air across the flap of our skin and our vocal cords, which then vibrate and produce sound. Taking it a step further, the sound then vibrates as it crosses over a flap of skin in the eardrum located in another person's ear. This is an exchange of energy, one that oftentimes causes the listener to formulate thoughts of their own as they turn those words into whatever form their mind arranges the data in. Think of things like the tone of voice, or the lack thereof, that give us cues to how the speaker must be feeling. This is what we're talking about when we speak on a person's overall vibe. All of this begs some really big questions to surface. Is it the vibrations of others we sense? Are we attracted to people whose temperament matches our own? If so, is there some unseen frequency our cores vibrate at? Are frequencies and consciousness related? The Shakyamuni Buddha lectured on the concept of emptiness extensively. While we in the West tend to think of this as a concept of nothingness, it's because we fail to grasp what's being conveyed. Call it a translation issue. Luckily, the Buddha summed it up nicely for us and called it the true nature of things and events. It's a concept meant to lead the practitioner into a world of self-discovery where they then awaken to a deeper truth. That truth being that all things and non-things are comprised of the same substance. We could write this off as Eastern mumbo jumbo and dismiss his teachings if he were alone in his thinking. Heraclitus had a strong sense that everything in the world was comprised of parts that died into each other in this never-ending cycle that stretched back through the ages. He would say, all things are one. Out of the one come all things, and all things out of the one. Oddly enough, he also said that most of his listeners wouldn't even grasp what he was talking about. I hear the RZA from Wu-Tang Forever telling us people ain't gonna stand till the year 2000. But that's my lens, my vibration, if you would. Moving on, here's where it gets really tripped out. How did these philosophers with no concept of science, no atomic structures, no protons, no neutrons, even begin to conceptualize the interconnectedness they spoke of? Think about it. How would they even begin to theorize that everything in existence is interconnected? Through meditation? Through looking within? Okay, so if they each discovered the answers to the fabric of the universe within themselves on opposite ends of the planet, then wouldn't it stand to reason they were tapping into the same collective consciousness? I mean, call it what you want, but I say two people completely unrelated to each other drawing similar conclusions is amazing at the very least. Consider the fact they were able to make these discoveries without aid of equipment or anything of that sort, and it has a ton of implications in and of itself. Factor in the fact that science seems to be taking huge steps into proving the existence of a unified field, and a whole new idea emerges. Does your tribe really change with your vibe? Do we gravitate towards certain ideals as our perspectives shift? Who knows? The verdict is still out on it, but we can conclude that this is a timeless discussion, one that has led us to revisit our chemical transformation of self and review it in a new way. Well, while we speculate, why not fake it till we make it and keep breathing in light and living in love? Deuces, y'all.